Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a good show for you tonight. Standing by over in the wings, Mr. John Cornett is ready to play some music. And then right here over my shoulder is Juan Camila Horaillo. And then we have Eric Llewellyn, and right next to him is Arturo Torres. Both Juan Camilo and Arturo are from Colombia in South America. They'll be talking about what's going on in Colombia and what they're doing down there. We have our Hemp News segment for tonight. I'm happy to announce that our telephone lines are back, that we have a new number. The new number to call in is 503-673-8579. That's 503-673-8579, but we're probably about 10 minutes away from taking your phone call. We also have our Hemp News segment just after we bring on our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves.
I feel the force.
First, I want to explain that the reason our banner is turned around here for the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation is because unbelievably almost, an Israeli-Canadian oil company by the name of Adira Energy, that's A-D-I-R-A Energy, has come in and stolen all of our medical records and got a court order because they spent millions of dollars on attorneys. And they think they can just win with a war of attrition. They don't have to have the facts on their side because they have lawyers who will lie. But that's why we have this banner turned around. Hopefully we will get the courts to stop ordering them to stop us from using our name. These people even claim they own my name, Paul Stanford. So more about that during the show. Our first story tonight is from Atlanta, Georgia. Members of the Atlanta City Council unanimously approved a municipal legislation on Monday decriminalizing marijuana possession offenses. Ordinance 17-01152 amends Atlanta's local law so that marijuana possession offenses involving up to 1 ounce are a fine punishable by $75 and no arrest, no jail, and no criminal record. Under Georgia's state law, minor marijuana possession offenses are classified as criminal misdemeanors punishable by up to 1 year in prison and a $1,000 fine. The measure now awaits the signature of Atlanta, Georgia's city mayor, Kasim Reed, who's publicly voiced his support for the new law. It's good to see southern cities like Atlanta coming into a more progressive stance on cannabis. Now out of Ottawa in Canada, the national capital of Canada, Canada is set to become the first industrialized nation to legalize and regulate marijuana from production to consumption by next July. The government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is pressing ahead with legislation to legalize cannabis, a move that the majority of Canadian public supports. Under the proposed legislation, the Canadian government would license the growing of cannabis by tightly regulated producers and set standards for potency and penalties for abuse. The provinces would decide on methods for distribution. According to Rick Barnum, he says if legislation is ready to go in July 2018, the law will go into effect. Opinion surveys continue to show Canadians support legalization. So Trudeau shows no signs of wavering in his push for legalization either, and he promised it in his successful election campaign 2 years ago. He said, quote, "The current framework is hurting Canadians," end quote. In the United States, 29 states and the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana in some form, with 8 jurisdictions allowing recreational use of cannabis. But the herb remains illegal at a federal level, leading to a patchwork of regulations and enforcement. The Canadian process is designed to result in full legalization across the country. Uruguay is the only country with a full regime for the legalized sale of cannabis, although a complication with U.S. banking regulations could imperil Uruguay's new marijuana market. Out of Montreal, Canada, last Thursday, Quebec Premier Philippe Couillard made the call that the minimum age for cannabis consumption in Quebec will be 18. After several caucus meetings where everyone was allowed to express their views on the hot issue, the Prime Minister made an ultimate decision opting for 18 instead of 21, as some requested. Government sources there in Montreal confirm. On the other side of the world, in Africa, Lesotho, a country of 2 million people that's completely surrounded by South Africa, is suited to produce large quantities of cannabis at low cost due to their expertise in high-altitude cannabis cultivation there in Lesotho. For many years, Lesotho farmers have been growing cannabis for consumption at home and exporting their harvest across the border in South Africa. Similarly, Swaziland, in that country, growing cannabis and exporting the herb to South Africa has provided for many families, despite the plant being outlawed. Cannabis is not yet fully legal in South Africa, so citizens cannot legally cultivate, sell, or smoke it, and how the court ruling applies is still somewhat obscure, but it seems globally cannabis culture is becoming tolerated. Last month, Lesotho's Ministry of Health licensed a company called Verve Dynamics, a South African company that manufactures herbal medicine and skincare products to grow, process, and sell cannabis for medicinal purposes. Verve Dynamics is to be the first company in Africa to be granted regulatory approval to begin the process of growing and producing high-quality cannabis extracts commercially to go in their products. We have a couple more stories out of Georgia, both of these from the University of Georgia in Athens. Cannabis retail facilities are associated with increased home values, according to data to be published in the journal Real Estate Economics. The researchers from the University of Georgia at Athens, the University of Wisconsin at Madison, where I was just at last weekend, and California State University, Sacramento assessed the relationship between operational retail cannabis facilities in Denver, Colorado, and fluctuations in nearby housing values. The authors reported that single-family residences within 1/10 of a mile of a retail marijuana establishment, or about 500 feet, saw an increase in value of approximately 8.4% compared to those located slightly farther away, between 1/10 of a mile and 1/4 of a mile from the site. That increase in property values was estimated to be almost $27,000 for the average house in Denver. They concluded in this study, quote, in addition to sales and business taxes generated by retail marijuana's industry, the associated increase in property tax revenues represents another potentially appealing selling point for legalization, end quote. The findings are similar to those of a University of Mississippi paper, which determined, quote, legalizing retail marijuana leads to an average 6% housing value appreciation, end quote. This study, Contact High, the external effects of retail marijuana establishments on house prices, appears in Real Estate Economics. Also from Athens, Georgia, cannabis dispensaries are associated with reduced levels of opioid-related treatment admissions and overall drug mortality, according to a study published online in ssrn.com. A University of Georgia economics professor assessed the relationship between the opening of medical cannabis dispensaries and drug treatment admissions. Dispensary openings are associated with a 20% point relative decrease in painkiller treatment over the first 2 years of dispensary operations, end quote, the study reported. This correlation was strongest among non-Hispanic white males in their 30s. Dispensary openings also resulted in fewer drug-related mortalities per 100,000 people. The authors of the study conclude, quote, the unintended beneficial effects of allowing for marijuana dispensary operations should be considered by policymakers as they aim to curtail narcotic abuse and limit the impact of opioids epidemic, end quote. The paper's findings are similar to prior studies reporting that states permitting medical marijuana dispensaries experience a relative decrease in both opioid abuse and opioid overdose deaths compared to states that do not. This study is called, quote, the effect of medical marijuana dispensaries on adverse opioid outcomes, appears online at ssrn.com. That's ssrn.com. From Chicago, Patients enrolled in a statewide medical cannabis program are likely to reduce their conventional prescription drugs over time, according to data published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Care. Investigators from DePaul University and Rush University College of Nursing assessed prescription drug use patterns in 34 patients registered to use cannabis therapy under Illinois law. The respondents frequently reported using medical cannabis, quote, as an alternative to most other medications, most commonly opioids, but also anticonvulsants, anti-inflammatories, and over-the-counter analgesics, end quote. The subjects reported that they believe cannabis is faster acting than conventional prescription drugs and that it possesses fewer adverse side effects. The authors concluded, quote, our results indicate that medical cannabis may be used intentionally to taper off prescription medications. These findings align with previous research that's reported substitution or alternative use of cannabis for prescription pain medications due to concerns regarding addiction and better side effect and symptom management, as well as complementary use to help manage side effects of prescription medications, end quote. Findings are similar to those of numerous others similarly reported that legal cannabis access is associated with lower rates of prescription drug use, spending, abuse, and mortality. This study, preferences for medical marijuana over prescription medications among persons living with chronic conditions, appears in the journal Alternative and Complementary Care. Also, a study was out last week that showed people who use marijuana are not impaired while driving. We'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But standing by in the wings, Mr. John Cornett's ready to play a song. Welcome back, John.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. This is a song I'm going to do by special request. It's an old song. It's by the Beatles, and it goes like this. Somewhere in the Black Mountain Hills, North Dakota, lived a young boy, Rocky Raccoon. One day his woman ran off with another guy. Hit young Rocky in the eye. Rocky didn't like that. He said, I'm going to get that boy. One day he walked into town and booked himself a room in the local saloon. Rocky Raccoon checked into his room, only to find Gideon's Bible. Rocky had come equipped with a gun to shoot off the legs of his rival. Well, his rival, it seems, had broken his dreams by stealing the girl of his fancy. Well, her name was McGill, but she called herself Lil, and everyone knew her as Nancy. Now she and her man, who called himself Dan, were in the next room at the hold down. Rocky burst in and grinning a grin. He said, Danny boy, this is a showdown. But Daniel was hot. He drew first and shot, and Rocky collapsed in the corner. Now the doctor came in, stinking of gin, and proceeded to lie on the table. He said, Rocky, you met your match. And Rocky said, Doc, it's only a scratch. And I'll be better, Doc, as soon as I am able. Now Rocky Raccoon, he fell back in his room, only to find Gideon's Bible. Gideon checked out, but he left it no doubt to help with good Rocky's revival. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a different version of Rocky Raccoon.
Welcome to the show. So, Juan Camilo Jaramillo, did I
Yes,
say it right?
yes.
Good.
What's up,
Eric
Good
Llewellyn,
to see you.
Arturo Torres, both of you folks are from Colombia, Bogota, which
Yes,
is
sir.
the capital of Colombia. I
Yes, sir.
had a great honor going there last December for the Copa del Rey, a cannabis competition there. I got to sample about 50 kinds of Colombia's finest, which was an honor. Hope to repeat someday. I'm going to go back to Medellin to the Expo Mediweed in
November.
November 23rd, 24th, and 25th, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. So, Arturo, you have a grow shop. What's the name of it?
Yeah, we have a grow shop. It's called Tierra, what means earth or soil in
Sure.
Spanish. And by the grow shop, we are teaching a lot of people in Colombia who wants to get into the cannabis cultivation, with the basic techniques that they need to get into it. And we're providing like organic materials and all the supplies they need, and a lot of medical information too, that it goes by a foundation that we have by a side. It's called Hishka, what means medicine in Muisca, a local native language.
Mm-hmm.
And with the foundation, what we're basically doing, it's using the personal cultivation laws
Mm-hmm.
that are allowed in Colombia. So each person can grow up to 20 plants per person for
Mhm.
personal use. And what we're doing is...
And how long have they been able to do that in Colombia?
It goes actually from 86.
86. So
Yes.
everybody can grow their own, but not
Yeah.
many people do.
Yeah. It wasn't pretty clear, just like that. And a couple of years ago, with the new laws, they just made it clear for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the laws about personal cultivation.
I see.
And we are using it. We have all our personal gardens, and we are helping a lot of people who's coming to us asking for any kind of cannabis medicine,
Mhm.
because we are still not have any stores in the
Mhm.
for the public where the people can go and get some medicine.
I know some doctors are pioneering helping patients
Yes.
get those kind of permits. What's the
Yes.
name of that lady doctor who is at
Paola Pineda from
Yes,
Medellin.
Paola
Yes.
Pineda?
Yes,
And she's doing a lot
helping
of work across in
people and
Bogota and
teaching the
Medellin,
people how
right?
to medicate out of it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we're doing down there. In terms of law, there's a lot of changes right now going. So now there's a lot of people asking for the licenses. So there's multiple licenses you can get now.
Mhm.
Ones go for cultivation, others for processing, and the commercialization, but still they don't have, or they didn't include any flower market into the medical
So it's just like pills and topicals,
like
or things for oral,
finished processed products,
Uh-huh,
like
like
you
extracts,
said, yes.
but not for inhaling.
Not flower, just
Uh-huh.
I think the extracts will be included, but not the flower will be allowed to be sold in the stores. Yes.
Okay. And,
So, yeah.
Juan, you are working as a distributor for Cincy Seeds, the Dutch seed provider,
Sensi Seeds and Bionova Nutrients.
which is a nutrient that we can pick up, a Dutch nutrient,
Dutch Nutrients.
and a
yes.
Dutch seed. Well,
Yes.
Cincy Seed started in the Netherlands as well. In fact, they
Yes.
have the huge hemp company as well, Hemp Flax, which is the world's biggest
Yes.
hemp company. So you're like a local distributor?
Yes, at a national level, I'm
Uh-huh.
the distributor.
Uh-huh.
Business is taking off slow
Uh-huh.
since in Colombia, we have, I guess, this blessing, but not for business, that cannabis is basically cheaper than anything else.
Yeah, a
So-
kilo or 2.2 pounds of standard Colombian cannabis, the sativas, goes for about $5 or $10 US. Is that right?
Maybe a
What's
bit
the-
more,
a
maybe
bit more?
$30.
Maybe
Around-
$30
yeah.
for a kilo?
And you can get grams for $1 and even 10 cents.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yes.
But for the finest flowers, it's a little bit more, but not a lot more, right? It's how much, $100 for a kilo? Or
Maybe more.
Maybe a little more
Yeah.
than that?
Yeah, the thing that we have down there is that normally the product it doesn't have that the quality that you can get into a legal market,
Uh-huh.
because just the process don't get done as it have to because of the legality of it.
Right.
So, and maybe that's also why, because it's very cheap.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
but still, that there's a lot of farmers growing cannabis all
Yes.
across Colombia. I got to tour around the Corinto and Cauca near
Yeah, the Cauca
Cali,
region.
Yes.
and
Yes.
there were huge fields out there.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then out in the northern coast, I didn't get out there, but I know you were telling me about Santa Marta,
Yeah.
which is famous for its red. When I was a kid, famous for its red and gold
Yeah, the
varieties
Colombian
of
gold.
cannabis.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's a little difficult to get that kind of genetics because everyone and even the traditional farmers are using the commercial and newest strains on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really difficult to get those classic land races,
Mm-hmm.
but you just have to find it and get into the mountains, and maybe you can get some of the original ones
Right.
with luck. Yeah.
I know there's a lot of importing of seeds from Europe as well. So
Yes.
the stronger indica varieties are being cultivated there. But it's different there because your light is 12 hours a day year round, right? It doesn't,
Yes.
like here, the days now are getting shorter and the nights are getting longer. And at some point here, we will have 16 or 17 hours of nighttime. And in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
summer, we'll have 17 hours of daytime. Now, the shorter cycle causes plants to flower. But in Colombia, you always have that short 12
Yes.
and 12-hour
Yeah.
cycle.
Yes.
Colombia
All
is
year round.
basically a huge flowering room.
Right.
And that's what makes it interesting for foreign companies to invest in Colombia, because you have that flowering cycle all year long
Mm-hmm.
without, needing artificial lighting.
Right. What I noticed, and what I first saw in National Geographic, actually, the science magazine, was a display of how they light up the gardens at just at dusk and at dawn, so that they increase the photo period on the plants with relatively inexpensive compact fluorescent bulbs.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's enough light to stop them from flowering.
Yes.
So the whole mountainsides are lit up in these squares, and it's almost vertical.
Yeah.
Colombia, I thought, was the parts I was in, where it was like a big Hawaii with steep cliffs, and the cannabis is growing vertically up there on the mountainsides.
Yes.
And at night,
Yes.
right at dusk and just before dawn, those things light up in squares on the mountainside.
Yeah.
So you see that a lot, don't you?
Yes.
But
Yes.
then, when you want them to flower, after the plants are big enough, they turn the lights off and they start to flower, and then it's
Yeah.
about 2 months to harvest.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, as you said. We just have to complement some hours at the night to keep them growing and
Yeah, in the vegetative
just stop
state.
it. Just to avoid that they flower, and then you just remove the lights when they are big enough to flower.
And then often what I saw is, because Colombia is often tropical, that where the lights have been put up above the garden about 4 or 5 meters,
Yes.
that they replace it with a plastic covering to keep the rain off the buds.
Yes.
So the lights are up there without that plastic covering, but when they take those down and the plants start flowering, they cover it so they don't
Yeah.
get wet and mold, which is
Yeah.
something we have to look at a lot here
Yeah.
on the West Coast, of course.
Definitely.
You know, we, for the first time in about 2 months, have our phone lines back. And so if you're interested in calling in, you can call us at 503-673-8579. That's 503-673-8579. And we have at least one caller standing by. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi, Paul. How are you guys tonight?
Very well. The sound's working great in here.
Regards your legal problems, have you thought of having a fundraiser?
Yeah, you know, we have just started and set up a GoFundMe page. And so I'll be publicizing that over the next week. We had a few kinks to work out with that. But yeah, and I've thought about having a more general fundraiser, because these lawyers are very, very expensive.
Maybe an event, get some public attention focused on it.
That's
that
a good
kind of
idea.
thing. That was my suggestion.
Thank you.
You people get together after the show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We always
Where-
have a
whereabouts?
studio audience here. If anyone like to come down and join our studio audience, we're here most Friday nights, though we'll be out for part of November.
Okay.
And so an after show, we have a little after show party as well.
Where is that?
At our office on Sandy Boulevard.
27th and Sandy?
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Well, all right. Good luck with it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Right on. Bye.
And I don't know if phone calls can hold or anything on this line. We're still just getting it up and operating. But if you have a question or comment for us tonight, you can call us at 503-673-8579. That's 673-8579. So you brought a video
Yeah, we
and
have
some
a video.
pictures. Would you rather us run the pictures first or the video?
The pictures?
Okay.
Yeah.
So ask them in the studio, not the studio, in the control room, if they can. There's a picture
Yeah, those
that
are
has those
some
narrow
of-
sativa leaves.
Yes, those are some of our gardens from the foundation.
What's the name of
So-
your foundation?
Hishka,
Hishka. What does that mean in
medicine
medicine?
in Muisca, that it's a local native language.
A Native American or
Yes.
First Nations language.
Yes, Hishka.
All right.
So yeah, we destinate part of our crop for the foundation, and the foundation basically turn it into products and deliver it free for the people.
Okay. How many pictures do you have?
Maybe 10 pictures.
Okay. There's another one. Those looks like some nice flower varieties. I'd say those are
Yes.
indicas.
Yeah. Yes.
So
they
you got a
were.
real purple one there. Do you know what those varieties are?
The purple one, it's a Pakistan Chitral Kush. And probably the other one is some Blue Dream. And I don't know the other one. What is it?
They're trimming,
Some photos of
obviously.
the processing. Yeah, the trimming of the flowers.
Okay. That looks like a real close-up there. It looks like pretty good stuff. That's an indica for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we're basically focusing on provide the best quality flowers to make it into products. And to keep helping the people and making some more research about on all the illnesses that we can use these products into.
I see.
Yeah, definitely that's what we need right now in Colombia.
There's Blue
to
Dream.
teach
It's
a lot
marked.
of
I can
people.
read that.
Oh yeah. So
good
yeah,
one.
we're like teaching everybody how to use it, the ways to grow it, to make everybody knows that it's easy and everybody can do it at home. You know? Not everybody have the possibility to do it, and not everybody is able to do it. So we're trying to help the people who really need it. And
There's a couple
this
guys.
photo was in a. This is my partner from Hishka, Juan, and this was in the expo in another cup in Colombia. This year it's called La Copa El Copo, and it's a really nice event.
Okay. Any other pictures?
No, maybe we can
That's
run
it.
the video.
We'll run the video in just a second. We have a caller who's called in, so let's see if we can bring that caller in. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hi, on Jorge's videos,
Yeah.
I just want to comment. I wish they had more along the lines of the drying and curing, because for the best cannabis in the world, growing flowers, that's just as important as the other things.
That's right. That's right.
You know-
He has videos about everything, and based on your recommendation, after we run our video about cannabis in Colombia, we'll probably run one of his videos that talks about drying and curing.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And
We're that
the
easy.
other thing is, there was one a couple of weeks ago where they had like this 31-32%, THC with this when in Colorado.
They
And
said it was 30%, but I am a doubter.
yeah, well, the thing is there too, again, the best world-class cannabis isn't necessarily the absolute highest THC as far as flowers. You have to look at the whole picture, the whole balance of everything that you need for the beneficial effects. I mean, if it's like 30%, that's just going to lay you out, and you're just going to be
Yeah.
the total couch lock. You know what I mean?
Certainly. It's not necessarily
So-
what we're looking for.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
like
some
to
people
go
might
out and
want
hike.
that. They prefer that, but
You know, they talk
I mean,
about
anything in the
recreational
20%
cannabis.
range, and then you get the other balance of all the CBDs and the other things that you want.
They talk about recreational cannabis, like somehow using cannabis in and of itself is recreation. Well, I don't believe that. I think recreation is basketball or swimming
Yeah.
or hiking. That's recreation. If you
Yeah.
talk about recreational alcohol use, that's binge drinking, right? That's
Right,
not a very
right,
good thing.
exactly.
But what I like is to go hiking or biking or walking or doing something outdoors after and while I'm using cannabis. That's the best sort of recreation, if you ask me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's hard to do that if you've had some couch lock cannabis.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't even get out of your chair sometimes,
Right. You fall asleep, wake up hungry.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean,
Well,
that's
thanks
one
for your
thing,
call.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Sure. We are taking phone calls tonight. If you have a question for us, you can call us in at 503-673-8579. This is a temporary number that the folks here got up and running earlier this week. We're really happy about that we've got that back. So I think we have this video that you brought with you, or we've got it offline from Colombia. So are we just going to run the video, or are you going to talk during part of it? Or
I can continue telling you
Okay.
about what we do down
all right.
there.
Well, is the video ready to go? Here it is.
So this is one of the gardens
Uh-huh.
that we have. We are also focusing on trying to find easy ways and sustainable ways.
They can hear him.
What?
Go ahead. They were just telling me the video.
Okay. So we're focusing to helping the people to develop easy and sustainable ways to grow at home. And for example, in this case, the grow is located on a terrace in a big house.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we are like trying to use rainwater, all organic fertilizers, really basic build-up greenhouse. And this is one of the gardens that fits the foundation to then help the people with the products that we're doing. And the other thing that we are doing right now also in Colombia, it's helping companies in the process of getting licenses. So if there's any company that wants to get more information about what's going on now in Colombia and all the licenses, laws and information, you can get in touch with us and we'll definitely give you some information about and see what we can do about it.
Okay. And there's your contact information right there on the screen.
Yes.
Okay. Who's that guy?
That's me. I hope we can listen what we're telling on the video, but it's all in Spanish. But yeah, we are just presenting the project and telling pretty much what I already told you here.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll
Yes.
come back and
Yeah, we can just continue.
talk some more here in the studio. So, how is your guys' trip in America? You're here for a month or two?
Yes, I'm just traveling the whole coast, researching a lot.
We had
We-
met in Colombia and in Mexico at
Yes.
Expo Weed
Expo
in
Weed,
Mexico
Mexico.
City.
Yes.
Got to travel around a little bit there and visit some
Yeah.
hemp construction sites, hempcrete construction
Yes.
sites.
With Stephen.
Yeah, with Stephen.
Yeah, this time I'm just researching a lot with clinics, dispensaries, and all the contacts that I can get to get more and more information back to the patients and the doctors in Colombia
Mm-hmm.
to just keep this thing educational going and going with the people in Colombia.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yes.
So we have another caller. We're going to take that phone call. Welcome to the show, caller. Hello, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey.
Hey.
Paul,
Yes.
if I were to take a flight from here to Phoenix and back, what do you understand the latest to be on if I took a an extract cartridge pen-style vaporizer. Can I do that now?
You can carry that. Do you have a medical license or is it recreational?
Recreational?
Yeah, recreationally, you are not allowed to travel interstate. And there's some question about even medical, but they don't stop you. There's a sign at the Portland airport that says you can't travel between states with adult use recreational cannabis.
So do I
However,
understand?
they probably
What?
won't bother you if you just carry it on. They want
Where do
you
you-
to not check vaporizers because they're afraid of the fire risk. So
Where do I put them? On my body?
put them in your carry-on baggage and then just put it through their x-ray machine.
I see.
Don't put it on your body because they will definitely make you pull it out and start explaining it.
Well,
But
thank
they
you
will
very
see
much.
it in their x-ray machine and they'll know what it is and decide it's not a threat to public safety.
So I go ahead and put that metal vaporizer in my carry-on bag.
Yeah, I always fly with my Volcano vaporizer. My wife and I, since last week's show, went to Madison, Wisconsin to the 47th annual Great Midwest Marijuana Harvest Fest. So I took my vaporizer there and I brought my vaporizer back with no problem whatsoever. I had it in my carry-on luggage and I have probably flown 200 or 300 times over the past dozen years with my Volcano vaporizer.
Thank you very much for the information. And also, I wish you well in the legal problems that you're having. And hopefully, I'll be able to help you in some small way.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for calling. We appreciate that. And what the legal problems he's talking about is, as many of you know, we have this banner here turned around because an Israeli-Canadian oil company called Adira Energy has come in and stolen our business and over 250,000 patient records. And a business I started called Empower Healthcare. So I want to urge you, do not visit Empower Healthcare at 18th Avenue. If you need a physician, we have a referral service. We have doctors here in Oregon and all over the United States that can help you. But please don't go to Empower Healthcare. It's been taken over by an Israeli-Canadian oil company. For more information, we'd be happy to send you some news articles that go into this in depth. Just give us a call at that number there on your screen. Or for a physician referral, call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. You know, it's pretty odd that a Israeli-Canadian oil company has come in and done this because for years now I have burned the hemp flame of freedom right here. This is hemp oil with a hemp wick, demonstrating that hemp is an illuminant, a fuel for engines. You can actually take this oil, pour it right into any diesel engine and turn the key, and then you can drive that. So that's the reason marijuana is illegal. As I've often said, marijuana prohibition is not about drugs. It's really about money and power and the continued centralization of economic and political control. Drugs are simply a smokescreen. Marijuana prohibition is really about fuel and energy, and that's why an Israeli-Canadian oil company, Adira Energy, has come in and stolen my life's work and stolen your medical records. So to get more information, call us at this number, that one there, 503-235-4606. There's been a number of news articles out there talking about this. None of them have been sympathetic to these Israeli-Canadian usurpers, but the court battle has just begun. And for more information, please give us a call, 503-235-4606. So Juan, what else are you doing in Colombia? Is there anything else you'd like to tell our audience?
We got some projects going on with hemp, industrial hemp, but so far we're just in the process of getting funding and getting the licenses. Industrial hemp has a big potential in Colombia because, again, our weather, our fertile lands. We got 2 ports in the Pacific and the Atlantic coast, Caribbean.
What are the names of those ports?
Well, we got in the Caribbean, we got Cartagena, Barranquilla, Santa Marta, and then on the Pacific we got Buenaventura port. So Colombia could be exporting a lot of different hemp products easily to the United States, produced at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. And so I think there are a lot of businesses that are looking at Colombia as a source to make, like that story we were talking about, body care products. That was a company in Lesotho, that's surrounded by South Africa, in the very southern end of Africa. So they're trying to do something similar, but I think Colombia's got a head start on them there, don't you guys?
Yeah, well, I think we're positioned to be one of the main players in the hemp industry, as long as the government kind of helps with
and
the
I
laws.
think it is. It has been recently,
Yeah.
more so.
Yeah, we've moved forward a lot recently, and now with the peace process, I think everything should be turning out fine.
Yeah.
Although we have elections coming up, and then we got some opposers to legalization and the peace process, and then some who are with it. But I guess we'll have to see, because we are a very divided country.
Well, yeah, I know I was there right when they were signing the peace process. It was a 52-year civil war with the FARC and other rebel groups there.
Longest running war.
Yeah, there was an interesting way that war has come to an end. We have a phone call, and then we're going to run a video by Jorge Cervantes. Let's go ahead and take that phone call first. Welcome to the show, caller.
Howdy.
Hey, welcome.
I got a real thing. I'm a rookie at so, but you know I like plucking the leaves off and that. Getting ready to dry it out. My hands are all sticky.
Yeah.
And I tried dishwash soap.
Yeah, soap doesn't work too well. Olive oil, surprisingly, olive oil will help and other vegetable oils will kind of get in there and get that off your fingers, or one of those industrial hand cleaners that they use in automotive shops also will work real well.
Okay, do you know what I found out today?
What?
Mineral spirits.
Uh-huh.
For cleaning like paintbrushes.
Uh-huh.
Because you want to put that on your hands.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Clean
I'll
it right
take a
off.
look at it.
You clean it right off, though.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir. You have a good night. We have that video from Jorge Cervantes on drying and curing, and we'll be back right after this.
We got a new battery in the camera. It's great. The last one was too hot. So, John, tell me more about this. How long does it? I mean, how much is here? There's a lot.
There's several hundred pounds down here right now. This is Paulina. She's our director of processing, and she helps all this stuff move through here in a timely manner and organized fashion. Basically, the plants will spend anywhere between 10 and 20 days down here drying.
A lot of people don't dry them that long.
No. Well, the reason that they stay down so long is because sometimes it takes a little longer for us to get to some of it. It can stay on the line for up to a month, and essentially this is just one big jar. We keep the environment set exactly where we want it, and everything can start curing in here after it's done drying. And then when it's time, we'll take it upstairs to the trimming area, have the trim team break it all down and separate all the pieces and package it up and get it ready for harvest ready for sale. Right here is some of the product that we have that's been trimmed, and you can see how the buds come out. There's a lot of really, really good trim. You know, when you look at the stuff that's on the line, it looks a little ratty, but that's only because it's got all the sugar leaves on it. And once you get those off and get it all cleaned up, there's some really nice little buds in there.
Yeah, this is what most people see as far as the cannabis plant. In fact, some people just see that, they just know buds and leaves. That's about all they know.
That's right. So if you want to walk with us down here, I can show you. This whole room got filled up within the last week or so, and we're struggling right now to kind of reorganize everything so we have a little more room for the rooms that are coming down this week. And,
these are all dry. I just touched them. You can tell it. You can snap these. Oh, yeah. These are all ready to go.
And then you can see also down here, we have these little catch basins that any little buds or leaves that fall off, instead of falling on the ground, they'll fall into here. And then of course we don't waste anything around here. We're going to use all that for extraction.
Sure.
And make some really nice oil out of that.
Boy, you could stay high on the sweep. Now, floor sweeping here, floor sweeping one day, you could stay high all year.
That's right. And so one thing that you'll notice also is every plant down here has its tag with it still. This is the tag that's been following each plant from the time that it was first cloned.
So we saw those before too, didn't
those
they?
Those were wrapped around the plants in the pots.
Okay.
Plants.
So the guy, the government inspector, or the local inspector, can just drive by here and tell how much cannabis you have sitting here in the basement.
Exactly, and then if they come in and you don't have a tag on a plant, or things aren't tagged, then you're in big trouble.
Wow. Well, you were telling me a story about that. Somebody, you know people that haven't completed their paperwork or haven't followed the chain of custody from seed to sale.
So our neighbor actually got shut down a year ago for not complying with the protocols related to the tags, and what he did was he actually took a bunch of medical tags, killed the plants in metric, which is the state tracking system, and then re-tagged the plants as recreational. And that's a big no-no. Once the plant is in its supply chain, it can only be medical or it can only be recreational for the rest of its life. And what he did was switch it halfway through its life cycle and got in a bunch of trouble for that. The Met came in, looked at a bunch of other things, saw other things that were not in compliance, and basically just said, we don't need to deal with you. You're going to be too much work for us.
Wow.
You're out of here.
Did they fine him?
He was not fined, but they just shut him down, and it was a mess.
How big was his organization?
He had one store, and he had about a $1.5 million bill that he had done with his facility. So big investment.
He lost that money then?
He lost everything.
Oh man, so he had to go bankrupt. Well, my guess is if he didn't, he should.
Yeah,
wow.
He owed us a bunch of money. I didn't even try to go after him because I just...
Well, there's no money left.
Exactly. I didn't want the headache or anything else. I felt bad for him, so...
Yeah, of course.
It is what it is.
Well, follow the rules, you know. Yeah, but at least he didn't go to jail, you know.
Yeah, any other place you'd be in jail.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. And you've got a whole other side, and it just goes on and on and on. There's a little bit of empty space here.
Down really soon, so boy, we're gonna need to make some room down here.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But, we can probably pack these a little closer together, do some things like that to optimize the layout. So I think there's still some room in here that we can find.
I like them. These go well.
And you guys want to come over this side?
Let's go over here.
Over here. This is Lindsay, and she runs the show down here, makes sure everything's being tracked.
Good.
And make sure that everything's accounted for, and that the tags are matching up with the packages, and so on and so forth.
Oh,
and so, she's in the spreadsheets all day doing stuff and looking at great weed.
That's a rough job. Because you're the control point.
Yeah.
Do you have to tell people they made a problem?
Well, sometimes, you have to say, this isn't up to par, or this is great, and so pretty much the last point of quality control before it goes out to wholesale or it goes out to our stores. So I like to do stuff to make it better. We separate out shade heat materials. We grow up our bud. We make sure that it's up to par to go out to our medical patients.
Cool. Well, do you do any testing, like for fungi, or do you send that out?
We send everything out for testing.
So it's a third-party lab.
Third-party lab, yeah, and that's what's required. It's going to be required by the state. It's required for the recreational people right now. The medical people are required for potency right now, right?
Yeah.
So they're
kind of backwards.
We test for potency, which includes THCA, THC, CBD, CBDA. So that's what we're really looking for.
Okay, cool.
And then over here we have all of our product is scheduled for wholesale. This is all getting ready to go out. We have one vendor. This is the Chrome's Master Kush. This is a really nice one. I'll bring it under the light here so you can see it a little bit better.
See that. It's nice to see this text and everything. That there's so many regulations here. Oh wow, yeah.
Nice icy
Well, you can get it
buds.
from there, yeah.
It's good stuff right there.
Cool. Cool. Now let's look at this here. I mean, it tells how many grams are there.
Yep. Tells how many grams are there. It has the license that it was produced under, the store license that it's going to, and then the OPC or optional premise cultivation is the cultivation license that they use. And then this also has all the ingredients that we use and everything. This is what the state requires. A little.
Wow, that's really neat.
Our THC logo has to go on everything now to tell you that this is a THC product, so there's no confusion. And this is kind of what the state's developed over the years and how they want to see people labeling their products.
This is really good. It's like the food industry. You've got to have all of the ingredients in there.
Yep, we got to tell them everything that goes in, so that includes all the organic pesticides that we use, and then all the fertilizers and everything that goes into it.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yep.
And then there's this is the batch up here.
Yep, that's the batch number. So this all goes into basically what's called a plant tag, a package tag. And so once you combine different plant tags into one package, then you throw those plant tags away, and you get one package tag. That package tag encompasses all the plants that went into that package. Wow. So that way you can have your reverse traceability. If there's ever an issue, you can figure out exactly what plants made up that package and where those plants came from.
Who does it?
Yep.
Yeah, man, that's pretty
cool. A lot of tracking.
A lot of tracking. It looks like half of what you do is track stuff and write down little numbers and letters.
That's right. Yep.
And then what's this? You got all this stuff here.
So these are just harvest reports from the different areas that we have. Herbal and Rocky are the nicknames of the two stores that we have. The pods are a separate area that we grow in, and we'll see those next. Those are all shipping containers that we built out.
Okay, and you got all your tags and everything down here. You just get them enrolled.
That's right. So these are these are package tags. And this is for recreational product, and the yellow tags are for medical product.
And how about these red ones over there?
This is tamper-evident tape that's required on the boxes when we ship them out to the stores. We have to tape them in this so that when they get to the shop, it's clear that nothing has been opened on the way, so that you can make sure nobody's been.
See, this is so funny for me to be in this industry for so long. Stuff like this would get you busted before. This stuff should be burned. Okay? I mean, this should be burned. You don't want any of that in here. And see this? This reminds me of that yellow evidence tape.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. Now we get to use this stuff. We're going to keep records. We don't have to burn anything. And we're going to put these barcodes on everything. Man, life is great. I mean, it's a little complicated, but it's way better than it used to be. Well, let's see. I see you got these freezers over here.
So there is Jorge visiting a Denver, Colorado facility. We've had that on a few times in the past, but we want to thank Jorge, and you can see more of his stuff at marijuanagrowing.com. That's marijuanagrowing.com. I know we were talking, he's got that name, Jorge Cervantes. So you thought he was from Chile. Someone had told you.
I don't know why.
But he's actually from here in Portland. Well, you can tell from his accent he's American. But he's from right here in River City, though he lives in California now, but he had a grow shop like you do on Foster Boulevard in Portland back in the 80s, and he closed down the day that DEA raided a number of other stores. He got out of that business. We have another phone call. We got about 3.5 minutes left. Let's take that call for a moment. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hey, thank you, Paul. This is Rick Hogan, and I'm calling to thank you for donating the you did to make another batch of the full extract cannabis oil that make cancer patients and other patients.
Hey, I'm glad to help. It's always good to see cancer patients getting the medicine they need, and I'm honored to be able to donate something to such a worthy cause. Thanks for making that for those patients.
You bet, Paul. The thing is it's a pretty, 100 decent buds and pay for the alcohol, it would end up costing them about $250 to make a batch. And only gets 10, 15, maybe 20 grams. That makes it very costly for these people.
Yeah. That's important, especially if you're sick.
So that's why I really, really appreciate your donation, sir.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling in and saying that, Rick.
You bet.
We are just about out of time. I know both of you are. Let's, Juan, let's put your information up here on the screen so we can, there it is. So if you're interested in reaching Juan and finding out more about Cincy seeds or Colombian seeds, you can contact Juan. And then we have the information for Arturo. There's your information. We'll kind of pop those back and forth there. And if someone wants to reach out to you, well, they're certainly able to do that. You're on Instagram with your grow shop there in Bogota, Colombia.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Juan?
No, thanks for the invitation, for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
It worked out well. And what about you, Arturo? Anything you want to say in closing?
No, just anyone who wants to get some information about Colombia and what's happening about cannabis and medical cannabis, just get in touch with us. And thank you again for inviting us.
Hey, thanks for coming down here. I look forward to seeing you back in Medellin in November.
Definitely.
What about you, Eric? You've been pretty quiet during the show. Anything you want to say in closing?
I'll say Croptober is among us. Treat your plants well, and they will treat you well.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in next week. We'll be back with another exciting show. Mr. John Cornett is ready to play some music. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you folks for watching, and help us restore hemp.
Yeah.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless the seeds I sow. Someone warmed them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds, picking stones, man is made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. To my body and my brain, to the